started the robotics team because when she was in 5th grade, she attended a fundraiser. Kids were really nice to her, and they brought her over to the robot and they showed her how it worked, and she was just in awe. And she said to me, she said, "I'm going to do that when I get to high school." And I said, "Okay."
Bailey's first introduction at Team 195 was actually when he was in 3rd grade. His 3rd grade teacher was Barbara Bottiglieri, and her husband John actually ran the team at that time. And Barbara came back from St. Louis and told her kids all about the trip and about the robotics team. And I can still remember Bailey came home that day and said, "I'm going to be part of that team one day."
So he saw the Cyber Knights in the Apple Harvest Parade, and he thought it was very intriguing. From that moment on, he just said, "I'm going to be a Cyber Knight. That's what I want to be."
So she was absolutely thrilled. So she was on the team from freshman year to senior year, and you know, they were some of the best years of this kid's life. It changed her life, frankly. It truly changed her life.
What you know about rolling down in the deep? When your brain goes numb, you can call that mental freeze.
I've been a mentor on the team for 16 years. I had 3 boys that went through the program.
My son Kyle joined the robotics team. I would sit out in the parking lot and wait for him while he went in for the meetings. And one day, one of the moms came out and knocked on my car window and said, "Why don't you come inside? We have brownies." And that was the beginning, and I'm still there.
"Hi, Mr. Graham," and you're like, "Okay, I'm completely surrounded here. What can I do for you?" And he says, "Have you ever heard of Southington High School's robotics team?" And I said, "No. What's it all about?"
My involvement as a parent, other than just being there for my kids and sitting in the stands, was wanting to get a better sense of what they were actually doing in places that I couldn't be.
And they needed help. That was the first year they were going to build a practice field or something that resembled a practice field. So I said, "Sure."
I was drawn to the team and became involved just because I saw how successful it was in teaching the students new opportunities. This is something that existed nowhere else. And the big thing was the fact that it wasn't just robots.
The kids on the electrical team called him over to help fix the robot in between matches. So he was leaning over the wall to fix the robot. And prior to that, I was kind of like, I don't know, this is kind of cool, yelling and screaming for robots. And when I saw like what he did and what he accomplished and what this team accomplished in the setting that you're in, it's unbelievable. And it's like right then and there, I said, we're hooked. We're 100% hooked.
We used to call it on Monday mornings, going to work with no voice, and it was the robotics hangover.
Because you've been yelling and screaming and cheering so much, and you're like, I lost my voice because I was cheering on a robot.
And until you can, and I feel badly that parents haven't been able to do that for 2 years, because that's really where you see it and you feel it, and the screaming and the yelling and the cheering, and just it's really special.
Back then, we built a robot, had no impact in the town. They didn't even know we existed.
We didn't have any of these banners, right? We didn't have any of this. We just had a group of kids that were determined to make something work and go to those competitions.
We started building better robots.
We found out that we had won and we had enough points to qualify for St. Louis. My daughter was crying. I mean, the whole team was just erupting. It was just the greatest feeling as a parent to be with your kids when a really big deal just happened. We made it to the championship. We were on that stage competing.
Semi-final match against the 2 Canadian alliances in the Curie division in 2019. They were obviously by far the best alliance there. Those teams worked together all the time. And we ended up putting up a really good alliance and somehow got on top of them and beat them. I don't think it's ever been a more exciting or emotional moment.
And when they announced our team and just see those kids walk through onto the Einstein field and just knowing that, you know, we're on Einstein.
Like when we go back and it first starts, the first competition, and I walk in there, it's almost like home, like coming home. It's almost like I breathe in and I'm like, I'm back.
All of a sudden, you know, the Macarena or something comes blaring over the loudspeaker and they all go rushing out of the stands. And you see all these kids in costumes and team shirts just all dancing together, having a great time, which is something that you just kind of chuckle at. And being an athlete, I wasn't used to that. I was like, what's going on?
You know, there's nothing like sitting there and when we went to St. Louis in a football stadium that was literally half full of people for a robotics tournament.
One of the greatest moments for Kate was a video that I saw, because I wasn't at a particular competition, and they had lost. And it was a dinner afterwards, and she stood up and gave a speech.
You're all #1 to me.
Telling them how great they were. And, you know, as a parent, that's one of those moments where you're kind of like, wow.
Hey, feeling good, like I should. When in dark, walk around the neighborhood.
The ability to be on the field and, you know, look up in the stands as their name was read and just hear her scream from across the stadium was something that I'll always remember.
Just seeing, you know, our son thrive in something that he enjoyed so much. Stefan was a former member of 195, and he was here came back as a mentor, and he and Bailey just bonded. And you know, when Bailey was having a tough time at a competition, Stefan would take him off to the side, and he could talk to him. And I have a great picture of Bailey and Stefan at the Greater Waterbury District event, and Stefan's just got his arm around Bailey, and they're talking because Bailey was coach of the drive team at the time. And then a couple of years later, when Bailey was back mentoring the team, I've got a similar picture of Bailey with his arm around one of the members of the drive team, kind of giving him the advice. I'm forever grateful for the influence that all of the mentors have had on my son's life.
Being a part of this with our kids, seeing them grow, seeing the friendships that they've developed, the friendships that we have developed.
It was great. I was able to spend time with them, meet their friends, meet other mentors, other kids from other teams.
I think that often we don't see just how much of an impact the program had on our kids until they're out of it and we look back.
It gave us a closeness and a relationship that I felt we had never had. And I think that that's one of the things that parents are missing right now, is being able to be there with their own child and seeing their excitement, seeing the love of something that they've never seen before.
Sometimes I get nervous when I see an open door. Close your eyes, clear your heart. Cut the cord. Are we human?
I think a lot of times parents are told that you only get one shot to spend time with your kids, and the clock is ticking. And unfortunately, COVID has prevented us from spending time with our kids and sharing in their excitement and their opportunities. The days of, you know, everyone sitting at the dinner table and saying, "What did you do today?" It's very different to ask a person what they did today than to actually have been a part of what they did today.
And as a parent, you just have to not be afraid. They're very welcoming. They're a very welcoming group of people. They will chat with you and explain everything, but you've got to take that initiative.
Throw it out, D. I was like, you watch the kickoff and you're like, hey, what if, you know, our robot can do A, B, C, or D? And it may sound silly to you. You bring it up to your kid and next thing you know, it's up on a whiteboard.
Every year when a new mentor joins, they bring along with them a skill set that maybe we've never ever had before.
Not everyone has to be a mentor, but there are so many other ways that you can really have an impact and make those connections. And I would just encourage everyone to take up the opportunity.
That as a parent, when the opportunity comes, try to get involved. I think you'll really enjoy it. You'll enjoy the people, you'll enjoy the program more.
It's a place I just don't want to leave. The people are fantastic.
I just knew it was such an awesome team and family to be a part of, and I want to become a bigger part of it.
I've got friends that I will have forever.
The time I put into this, I get so much more out of it working with these kids.
I love it. I love the kids, I love the mentors, I love the program. I love seeing the kids grow.
See, now I'm gonna cry. The team is a blessing. It is. And the people who spend all of their time volunteering for this team is utterly remarkable. It is. You know, people who have had their kids grow up and move on, and they're still here because it is that much of a family.
Are we human or are we dancer?
Good morning, Cyber Knights! And for the first time in a long time, good morning, Cyber Parents and Cyber Friends. Welcome to Kickoff of the Cyber Knights' 25th FRC season. Wasn't that video moving? Nothing like starting the morning by getting misty-eyed with a bunch of parents reminiscing.
Okay, boom.
And in case you missed the not-so-subtle sales pitch,
Our prices have never been lower!
new parents, one word of advice.
Run away and never return.
Get out while you still can. You heard them. Once they get their hooks into you, you'll be at it for decades before you get out.
Kill him.
This year, we were all set to put COVID behind us and have a normal FRC season, but a new variant is here.
Omicron.
So instead, we'll review all the wholesome learning and robot building you've been doing.
3, 2, 1, begin!
And since it's been a year of borrowing ideas from the past, like this, and this,
Hello, Peter.
and even this, let's just all come to terms with the fact that FRC has asked us to gather here so they can announce Recycle Rush 2.0. Now, before we see the game and start to analyze,
Scooby-Doo this crap.
let's hear from the man who we told needs to be done talking by 11:30, just so we could be sure he would actually be done by noon. Your hosts, Gino Brino.